What would 62-year-old me say to 17-year-old me if I had the chance? Well, shut up and listen. I'm sorry, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to me. Well, welcome to Hanging Out with Popsy Guy. Do you remember the movie Back to the Future? And that scene where old Biff is in the car with young Biff? Well, picture this. 62-year-old me jumps into that 1970 Ford LTD that I told you I owned at 17. And I immediately start playing with the Supertuner and the 8-band Clarion equalizer to get my favorite radio station going. And guess who's sitting beside me? 17-year-old me looks at 62-year-old me and says, "Hey, old man, how'd you know how to do that?" Well, I say to him, "Shut up and listen." That's the first thing I'd say. And it's probably the hardest lesson, the hardest thing to say, because it's a lesson that I think all of us need to learn as young as we can. Because I know at 17, nobody told me that the reason I had 2 ears and 1 mouth is because I needed to use them in that proportion. God wants me to listen twice as much as I talk. But 17-year-old me just wants to talk. And guess who he likes to talk about? His favorite subject, himself. And when he's in conversation with somebody, he can't wait for them to take a breath. You know why? It's his turn to jump in and talk, or even talk over them. And unfortunately, that's a lifelong habit that a lot of people haven't broken. And I don't want 17-year-old me to be that guy that just is constantly waiting for an opportunity to talk about himself. And that's a skill. And that's a skill I want myself to learn. And 62-year-old me says, "Hey, I think you've done a good job at that, but it's a frustrating thing." And 17-year-old me just wants to say, yeah, that's great, Pops. What else you got for me?" Well, I'd say, just shut up and listen. Make sure you're listening twice as much as you're talking. Because some of the advice that you'll receive when you're listening is gold, and it's going to change your life, and you won't even realize it until you're further down the road in your LTD, looking back and saying, "Wow, that didn't make sense when I heard that bit of advice, but now it seems to make a lot of sense." So that's what I would do. And I would also let them know in that same car, my dad was trying to tell me, "Hey, listen, when you see ice on the road in the winter and you're coming around a corner, do not touch the gas. That's the last thing you want to do, because the ass end of that car is going to swerve out and you're going to lose control." Like, "Yeah, Dad, no worries. I got a big 8-cylinder engine in this thing. I can handle it." Well, guess what? One day I'm coming around a corner, saw a little bit of ice on the road, and I thought, I'll goose it just a bit to get around the corner. And guess where I ended up? In a snowbank. Yeah. Put a big old dent in the rear of the car. Had to get it pulled out. Didn't listen. So the second thing I would share with my 17-year-old self is to invest in relationships. You know, that car was a big car. I told you about it. Could probably seat 6 to 8 people with no problem. Didn't have to worry about seatbelts back then. And I didn't care who was in the car with me, because I just wanted to go, right? Let's go to the beach. Let's go somewhere. Let's just cruise. Let's drive down the waterfront and hang out and see who we see. And I realized it really didn't matter who was in the car with me, because I was only interested in where we were going. What I would tell my 17-year-old self is, pay attention to who's in the car with you. Because the journey, the friends that you're with, the people that you associate yourself with, they're more important than the destination. And it's something that takes a lot of time for us to realize. Most of us have had friendships that have come and gone, but the ones that stick around, the lifelong friendships that you and I both have, those are the people that will be there when you need them. At 17, I was only worried about how much gas I had in the car, and if somebody that I was riding with had $5, it's your turn to put $5 in it. But that might not be the same person that would come to help me out when I needed help. If the car broke down or something bad happened, because I didn't build the relationship. And it's something I think is important for all of us, and especially 17-year-old me, to know, is that lifelong relationships are rare. Most of us in this age group can count on one hand the number of really close friends that we have Then when we look back with fond memories that it wasn't always great things that we did together that kept us together. It was just those times where we needed each other. I have a very close friend of mine who was there for me, my family, when we really needed him. Unannounced, showed up in a very critical moment in our lives, my wife and I, and he sat with us and he prayed with us. I didn't ask him to come. He just heard about it. And he's going through some things in his life at the time that were unspeakable as well. And that's a friendship. That's a lifelong friendship. So 17-year-old me has to stop worrying about who to hang around with, who looks cool, who do I get to be seen with, and start paying attention to who's there when I need them and who do I want to be there for when they need me. So that's the second thing. Invest in relationships. Take the time to build long-lasting relationships. And thirdly, and this is probably the most obvious one to 62-year-old me, just like your car, take care of your body. You know the car is going to go 100,000 or whatever it is miles, but the longer that you drive that car and the longer you own that car, the more you're going to hear creaks and groans from the car. Yeah, you'll oil change it and tune it up and rotate the tires and do all the maintenance, but that's not going to prevent the car from groaning and moaning at 62. Just like I'm groaning and moaning. So what I would say is, yeah, I know, 4 hours, 5 hours of sleep at night, I can live on that. Do you remember when our parents would make us take a nap? And now we all want those naps back. We kicked and screamed and we didn't want to go down. We had too much to do, so many things to play with. But yet mom and dad knew that if we didn't lay down for a couple hours, our bodies wouldn't perform. It's the same thing as you get older, 17-year-old self. Think about what it might be like down the road if you don't take care of yourself. And you won't be able to do the things that you take for granted now, and you think you'll be able to do them forever. And I know that's kind of weird, a 62-year-old telling a 17-year-old, hey, eat better, get your sleep and everything, and then you sound like a cranky old man. Well, I'll tell you what, if you don't do all those things, you will be a cranky old man. So anyway, those are the things I would tell my 17-year-old self. And I think the most important one is the very first one. I think active listening is a skill that has been lost on so many people. Tell me this is not true, that you have people that you associate with. You may call them acquaintances, or I don't know if you'd call them friends. But when you get together, you can just tell that they have no interest in anything other than what they're going to say next. They jump in. This is what drives me nuts. This is a little cathartic exercise for Popsy Guy. As you're speaking and you're making a point, they just start talking like you're not even there. Wow, does that drive me crazy? And I just back off. I'm like, oh, okay. That's how you want to play it. But I don't generally spend a lot of time with people like that because I don't have enough time to spend with people like that. 17-year-old me, if he learns the skills of active listening, people will think he is the most gracious conversationalist God ever created, and he'll find out that he doesn't even do most of the talking. He does the listening. But people think that he's a great conversationalist. The other thing too about listening is that it pays attention to other people, validates who they are, helps them feel better about themselves. You're not trying to stroke them or kiss their butt or do anything like that. You're just saying that you as a human being have value and worth, and what you say, the words you're saying, mean something. So 17-year-old self, I hope you take advantage of those tips. Back to the future. Man, I miss those days when even if somebody gave me all that advice like I'm doing right now, be like, yeah, when I get there, I'll worry about it. But right now, I've got places to go, people to see, things to do. Get out of my way, old man. You don't know what you're talking about. That's what 17-year-old me is looking over and saying, but he's not actually saying it. But I know he's thinking it. So do me a favor, comment, tell me whether or not that resonates with you. If you had the opportunity to do kind of like what they did in Back to the Future and sit down with your younger self, what 3 pieces of advice would you give your younger self that you think would help shape their future and give them a head start on becoming the person that you want them to become? So thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out with Popsy Guy. I'd really appreciate it if you liked the video. Certainly give me a comment. Subscribe. That would be very helpful to the channel. I just wanted to put that out there because I saw Back to the Future not that long ago, and I thought that would be so cool. Sitting down with my younger self, first thing I'd say is just shut up and listen. All right, well, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you in the next one.